Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared. This is the
Terrified.
This is the last time for about a month and a half that Ron and I actually have control of the podcast.
We handed over the reins to crazy people.
Yeah, never let Jesus take the wheel. It's a trap. If Jesus is named Bobby.
I was gonna say his online handle is Soapy, but okay. Jesus it is.
So for those unaware, this show is typically, alternating between a pick from myself or a pick from Ron. Sometimes it's stuff we've already seen. Sometimes it's us introducing stuff to the other that we know they haven't seen before. But once a year,
that special time of year,
that special time of year where we were fucking stupid and decided to let friends and family control what we get to watch. And sometimes it leads to fun stuff like Spaceballs or Spirited Away. And sometimes you get M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender, and you get to hear me lose my shit for 90 minutes on a podcast. Which most people have said is like their favorite episode. So you're welcome.
I don't think I said anything.
It's just me yelling into the ether.
I think it was just you having a stroke live on microphone, live on tape.
No, you did add the ingenious bit about the Fire Lord's wardrobe and poor
He's holding
Curtis.
his clothes on by holding his arms up.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in like one of those like body casts that has the poles holding your arms up when you're walking around.
He's having to manually keep his costume together.
Yeah.
And somehow the script is even in more shambles than the set and costuming is.
Cliff Curtis is just like, whoa, wait, did you just call action? I'm wardrobe. I need wardrobe. What do you mean this is the way it's supposed to be?
Oh, man. What a movie asterisk that exists.
What a moment in time that movie was and that episode was. I might go back and listen to it when we're done here.
Have fun. Maybe one day the pop blood vessels in my eyes will heal themselves. I don't know. We'll see. So we have after this episode we have 4. 2 of them have been picked. The first one was selected by Bobby, which we will be revealing the selection that he sent to us
live on recording.
He sent us an email that is driving Ron and myself fucking crazy because we each can't stand having unread notifications on our iPhones.
Yep.
It actually physically hurts me. I keep like scrolling, looking at my phone every 90 seconds because I'm a millennial.
I've got it open in Firefox and the tab just says inbox 1.
Yeah, inbox
and I'm just staring at it.
Yeah, it's so fucking ominous too. It's just staring me down, and I know the
eye of Sauron. The eye of Sauron.
But first, we will be talking about a little movie called Warrior that is absolutely fucking fantastic.
The story of Horaloo.
God damn it.
Warrior, the rise of Horaloo.
I hate that character.
Starring Uncle Owen.
Oh man. Before we talk about Warrior, which is just absolutely awesome, we have I think we just have, do we have one question or did you have any on your end? We have the one in the email to get to, and then I wasn't sure if you had any to propose.
None that I remember.
All right, yeah, let's jump in.
Did you have any questions, Chris? No questions on this end.
Chris has the question, why are you still doing this podcast? That's a fair question. All right, so our first question comes in from Ryan, and it is subject line movies or TV shows. Thanks for writing in, Ryan. And again, if you would like your prompt or question discussed by Ron and myself, all you have to do, hit us up screenplayrewind@gmail.com.
Screenplayrewind@gmail.com.
What was that one more time?
Screenplayrewind@gmail.com.
There you go. Or hit us up on Twitter with a DM or just standard tweet SBR Filmcast.
And all right, I noticed we did not give Ryan the standard auto reply. So I think I'm going to auto reply. Thanks. I'll check them out.
I'll check out movies or TV shows occasionally.
Thank you, Ryan. Now you get the Screenplay Rewind auto reply stamp.
I'm glad that you didn't go with the third option that Google suggested of not really, period. This is the most dickish fucking passive-aggressive response you could possibly have.
It's the period. The period's the worst part of that auto reply.
Not really. Although it would actually be worse. Have you ever gotten, it's usually from a relative, have you ever gotten a text that just has, like, instead of a comma or a period, the person just uses an ellipsis over and over and over again for no reason, and it makes me want to break my phone in half? Have you ever had anyone do that to you?
I will incorrectly use an ellipsis for dramatic effect, even though really I think it's supposed to be the hyphen for that. But no. No, my thing is my mom lets autocorrect capitalize things that grammatically would be capitalized, like okay, but I can't help but hear it in my head like okay. Like
okay.
That's Netiquette. Remember Netiquette in the 90s? Because of Netiquette, I hear it as her screaming okay at me in my head. So
I have a couple relatives that will literally have like 12 ellipses in one fucking paragraph.
Oh no, just use a period.
Just use a fucking period.
The one period, not the three. Do they do 3 or 4?
Oh, it's like a whole bunch.
No. Periods in a row.
Yeah. They'll use sometimes 3, sometimes 4, sometimes more, and I sort of sound like fucking Dr. Seuss as I talk about
every single Star Wars movie. I want to strangle George Lucas for the four dots at the end of the crawl every time.
Yeah. It's kind of fucked up. All right, let's get to the question, though. So Ryan says, I just finished The Last of Us, and I was thinking how well the game lent itself to 9 episodes versus if it was made as a movie. I was wondering if there are movies you think would work better as a limited series or TV shows that would have worked better as a movie instead of carrying on. And thanks again for writing in, Ryan. So do you want to go first? We took some time. So what's really funny is we saw this question pop up, and we talk about this all the time.
On mic and off mic.
And I'm glad that we, decided to research it a bit, because if this was like asked for me to answer like live, I wouldn't have had a single fucking answer because my brain just went dead.
Ryan, I am sorry. As much as I have talked about this, I read your question and my mind immediately blanked and I had to go Google. But I know you and I mention this exact same thing all the time. Sometimes about movies we just saw, like, if they'd done like a 6-episode thing on that, it probably would have been better as it felt a little rushed,
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So before, like, what's really funny too is my main answer I came up with, I just told you about like last month, and I completely forgot about it. I was like, oh yeah, I did just say that. I'm an idiot. But I remembered what it was. So would you like to start us off with what your answer is?
Movies I think would work better as a limited series, since we are kind of in the golden age of the miniseries right now. I think a lot of issues I have with Rogue One would be solved with like a 6 or 8 part miniseries on Disney Plus.
Well, I think that's kind of like what Andor is supposed to be, but I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it yet, but
people fucking love that show, so I'm excited to watch it. I get what you're saying.
My understanding is Andor is more about like the birth of the rebellion, whereas Rogue One was specifically like getting the Death Star plans out.
So you would have rather had kind of like an A-team, like kind of mission-based thing going on instead of just like wrapped up in one movie, like an ongoing thing?
Yeah, I did not like Rogue One like at all, and like every issue that I have with it, it feels like it just kept creating more loose ends instead of tying them up.
Interesting. I really like Rogue One.
I didn't like Space Katniss at all. I would have needed a different protagonist also. But.
Yeah, she's not the best. I actually like a lot of the supporting characters that they had in it.
And because every trailer for that movie ending with that line, I hate that's what I do. I rebel.
I mean, they deleted it from the movie. It's
did
just
they really?
It's not in the movie.
I didn't even notice. It's in so many trailers. I didn't even notice it's deleted from the movie.
Yeah, it was weird because they had it in like all of the trailers, and then someone was just like, maybe we shouldn't have that, and they're like, okay. I really liked Rogue One. I get your qualms with it. Part of it is just I'm more of a Star Wars nerd, so I'm usually like just kind of more down for it. It's not the best, but I thought it was fine. I'm really excited to watch Andor because people say it's like way better kind of in that realm, because like what I liked about Rogue One was like some of the stuff they did in The Last Jedi as far as like making some of the characters and like parties involved in Star Wars less like kind of black and white, more gray. Because like some of the characters just kind of are assholes, even if they like mean well.
Guerrera.
Yeah, and some of them, I don't know. I would probably need to go like watch it again because I think I only saw it like the one time in the theaters. So
That's enough.
I don't know. But did you have any? So the question goes both ways. Did you have any vice versa that you think would have worked better? Like you thought were like too long running and would have been better like served being condensed as a movie?
I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier would fix a lot of problems by being a movie.
I think that's a good call because that they had what like 6 episodes worth.
It lingered,
and they really only had like 3 episodes worth of material.
Like half of that show is Falcon and Winter Soldier literally standing around tossing a shield back and forth, like.
And the other half is them fixing a boat.
And them is fixing a boat.
Yeah, it also what
and it was real weird.
Like...
The Winter Soldier kept going on about shrimp and like his shrimp restaurant that he would open. It was real strange.
Yeah, it was really weird. What's weird though is they didn't like necessarily fuck themselves over by having 6 episodes. Why did each of those episodes need to be like an hour and 10 minutes long?
I do not know.
Because
it's
like,
not like they're selling
really...
advertising. Like I don't understand.
And they had just done WandaVision, you know, that was like 30 to 40 minute episodes.
Yeah.
So they're not beholden to like it's Disney Plus. They can do whatever the fuck they want. So like if your material is that kind of, you know, stretched, why aren't we editing out, you know, some of these really meandering? And now like overall I liked it. I didn't hate it. I mostly liked it because of the characters they had in it. Like I think the acting carried a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because the writing was very stretched then. I totally agree.
I think it had its moments, and I think that I would remember more of the good moments if it had just been edited down and condensed down a little bit better, you know. And I think, I mean, come on, Marvel's cranking out 2.5 to 3 hour movies these days. That could have been a 2-hour movie, 2.5 hour movie done.
Yeah, it was very weirdly paced, and I couldn't even tell you who the villain was in that. It was the lady who was like the super soldier at first, you know, and then it became the bad Captain America, and then it became, you know, like and then it's the oh god, what's the was Agent 13? She's like a bad guy ? And it
I
was
don't even
like
know
really,
who you're talking about.
You don't remember? It was the neighbor in the Winter Soldier. Who was yeah.
Carter's niece.
Yeah, Carter's niece. Then she ends up being like the broker or whatever, like the behind the scenes bad guy ? But then they didn't do anything with that. And that show
was set
has
up.
like that show has like 5 different setups for villains, and never really follows through on like any of them. And it was just kind of really convoluted. But
so before we move on, I know this episode is not about Falcon and Winter Soldier, but to your point about them switching antagonists in the middle of the show, I heard an interesting theory about that.
Okay. I'll be the judge of that.
So there used to be a podcast called Tested. It had Adam Savage, Kishore Hari, and Norm. Oh god damn, what was his last name? I can't remember Norm's last name. But Kishore Hari said that his theory on that is they would have been filming when COVID hit, and she was trying to release a bioweapon, and she thinks that the producers pulled a left turn all of a sudden once COVID hit.
Is it Norm Chan?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he thinks that the producer's like, whoa, wait a minute. And they pulled a left turn. They felt like they needed to do that. So
yeah,
I'm not saying it justifies anything. I'm just saying that was an angle I had never thought about when I watched it the first time.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Also, that should have been made a lot better. Why are you bringing back Zemo and then like barely using him? He should have been in that show a lot more to me.
The Zemo stuff was weird.
Yeah, it was like they got him back for it, and that's cool because, you know, Zemo's a cool character and he's a brilliant actor. but they like barely used him, and they used him like very awkwardly. Again,
I didn't understand why he was there.
Yeah, it was.
This
strange.
guy beat the Avengers with his mind.
He literally broke up the Avengers.
He's the reason the Avengers well, like a band, like the Beatles. Yeah, he's the reason the Avengers broke up, and then we bring him back, and it's just real strange.
Yeah,
the way they used him. But yeah,
it was really weird.
I had a backup too, depending on how far we went with this.
Sure.
Movies that I think would have been better as a series. My Avatar, The Last Airbender, is Aragon.
Oh, okay.
And I think like a 3-season, 10-episode series would get you through all 4 of the books just fine.
So you'd like the approach to the Golden Compass HBO series,
See,
where
I
it
was
kind of
I was gonna say Golden Compass, and then I was like, oh, they did that.
Yeah. So you kind of would rather have that format where it's kind of like, like 8 episodes, 10 episodes, and then each like season is a book, basically.
The movie did weird time jumps and weird time lapses, and like his journey in the first book takes like over a year. I think we get there in like 2 or 3 weeks, and it takes years for his dragon to grow to adulthood, and he literally like throws a thing playing fetch with her, and she goes away as a baby and comes back adult with the stick, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that's weird.
And the most interesting thing about Aragon is not Aragon, and it's not Saphira. It's the world and the setup, and there's a lot of interesting politics, not quite on the Game of Thrones level, like it's kind of trying to be a little bit, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of interesting, like, the world's full of all kinds of crazy ass monsters and shit, and it's just kind of a broken, fractured world with a bunch of different factions. None of it plays out in the movie. There is a dwarf in the movie that is bigger than the Human King. Like, they just gave him the character's name. There's no dwarves, there's no elves, nothing in the movie. And these books are very Tolkien when it comes to elves and dwarves and things like that. There's a lot of interesting politics between the different races and things going on.
Okay. Yeah, I have never watched the movie,
in the movie.
I've never watched the movie adaptation or read the book, so I know very little about it outside of what Ron has told me.
The first book is a little rough because it's literally Paolini's first book, and I think he was like 15 when he wrote it. So as you're reading it, you're just sitting there like Star Wars, Zelda,
Lord of the Rings,
Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars,
Zelda. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so Star Wars that in the movie they have Aragon walk out to the wilderness and put his foot up on one rock and watch the sunset. And I was like, what are you doing?
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's so awkward. That reached like robot chicken level parody, but it's his actual. I mean, I can't say shit though. The kid made like a fucking IP at age 15, so like kudos to that kid. Yeah,
I was just like, what are you doing? You should be distancing yourself from this.
That's really funny though.
But no, they full on embrace it because he's basically Luke Skywalker is that character.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's my alternate answer. What do you got? We've been hearing from me this whole time. What do you got?
All right. So I will tell my main answer here in a second. But one we had actually reveal. Yeah, but one we had actually talked about a little bit in one of our previous episodes of this show. While I really, really liked the movie, if you made me pick what I think the property would have worked better as, I think The Losers should have been with the same cast, extended as like a 6 or 8 episode miniseries.
That is such a good answer.
Or an ongoing show. Because I want to see them.
Maybe then we would have continued the story.
Yeah, so like here's the thing. I think that story and those characters, like, because like the driving force behind what people like about it is the characters and the actors, right?
The characters are so good.
Yeah, so like you wouldn't have to be as rushed. You could have more, like, you could have individual episodes dedicated to like this episode we're going to cover, like this character's like backstory, you can actually like dive into it more instead of it being kind of like a montage of like the comic,
This episode's about the marigolds versus the petunias.
I really really love those characters. I love the actors they picked for it. I wish we got more of it, and I think that property would have been more successful if it was coming out as a TV show like now on like HBO or like Amazon or something. I think it would have had more staying power.
HBO Max would be a good place for, or Max, sorry, just Max, which is really ominous because Max is the villain of the Losers.
Yeah.
Have you ever read that comic?
I have not, but didn't you read it after we covered it?
I did. Shortly after we covered, I was like, you know what? I have never read this, but I've watched this movie a million times. It's good. The characters, I think, in the movie are done better than they are in the comic.
Interesting.
And I would have really liked to have seen that story play out on screen.
Yeah, me too.
I was really into the story, but some of the stuff with the characters, I was just kind of like, this is good, but I've seen the movie. Is my problem.
You're also like carrying the baggage of that cast is fucking incredible in that movie.
Oh my god.
So they're all elevating the material because the cast is insane. Like they literally couldn't afford the cast now because of how good they were. It was like crazy just like how many of them ended up being like basically A-list, just like ahead of their time.
Chris Evans as Jensen, and then SPR favorite as Clay. I can't think of his name right now.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yes, my brain. I am running off of very little sleep the last few days. So yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Clay. Those two casting choices alone are beautiful. If you read the comics, it's perfect.
Yeah,
Clay,
yeah, dude.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan even carries himself like Clay does in the comics. It's great.
Yeah, fucking love that man. And my main answer to this, the fact that this hasn't happened, I think is just like mind-boggling.
I'll be the judge of that.
Hellboy would work so much better as an ongoing TV series on HBO than it would as a truncated 2-hour movie.
I agree with that.
Hellboy is based on these comics that are like basically like the X-Files, but for like paranormal shit. Yeah. Like the BPRD is basically X-Files for paranormal shit. They go in and investigate weird shit like episode or like, episode, issue to issue, however you want to like, break down the storylines. But like it could be so cool if you have a fully budgeted Hellboy series where like you can kind of do
Supernatural Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. basically.
Hell yeah, dude. And you do it fully budgeted on HBO. You get some like really, really great actors in there. You can do whatever you want with it because the fucking concept is just like so good. The BPRD, you could make, like you could keep the Hellboy branding. It could be like Hellboy : BPRD to where like he doesn't even have to be like the main character in every episode. You could have one with Abe Sapien. You could have one as like a backstory with his dad. There's so much like just endless material. And there's endless material because they've been making Hellboy comics for like fucking 30 years. Yeah. It's such a good concept, and and like they're rebooting it into another movie, and I'm just what are y'all doing? And you and I both, we like the David Harbour one. It wasn't like the next like fucking Godfather or anything.
People are
but
way too hard on that.
Yeah,
movie.
They were too harsh on it.
Yeah,
but like,
it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's fine. I had fun. I enjoyed it.
Exactly. And like, why are we crowbarring it into like 90-minute plot lines that it doesn't really work as when you could just have like a fucking X-Files style show where every episode it can be whatever the fuck it wants to be. You can do like the X-Files thing of like, here's a, like a one-off episode of like some just cool creature concept or like paranormal concept we have, and then have like an ongoing storyline that, like kind of like is spread throughout the season. I mean, like there's so much shit you can do with Hellboy that they just don't do. It's real weird. But they want it to work because they keep fucking rebooting it over and over and over again. And I'm just like, just make it a show, man. Just make it a show. Please. I would love a BPRD show on HBO. Like, please. It's so cool.
You could probably even reboot it and get Ron Perlman back.
Yeah, just do like something, man.
It's not that horribly physical intensive. It's a lot of makeup, so you don't have to worry about how much he's aged since then. And I mean, the guy will do just about anything you ask him to do.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. Absolutely. That is an excellent choice. Both of them.
I just do not get why they keep crowbarring Hellboy into movies. It just like, did you watch the second Hellboy movie?
I have not.
It's not bad, but it's just like that same type of thing where I like these movies. I like all of the movies. I especially like the first Del Toro movie. I like that one a lot. But like, come on, guys, just give me the fucking show.
You funning
please.
me, boy. I can't
Just
help
give me
but
the
think
show.
of that.
Yeah.
I can't help but think of that every time I see Ron Perlman now. You funning me, boy? Holy jeez, you gone and done it.
I love that man. He's just
Ron Perlman,
absolute goat.
I'm not on Twitter anymore, but Ron Perlman's a great follow. He destroys every congressman and senator, every politician. He just destroys them, and some of them are dumb enough to reply, and then he just rips them a whole new one next to the first one. Like it's kind of amazing.
Yeah,
he's very politically active.
Yeah.
He's a great
he's
follow.
Savage.
He gives no fucks. He's very Ron Perlman.
Zero fucks. Yeah, he's like he's good at playing his Ron Perlman characters because Ron Perlman is Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman does what Ron Perlman does, not for Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman does what Ron Perlman does because Ron Perlman.
Because he is Ron Perlman. All right. Thanks again for writing in, Ryan.
I had a third category.
Okay.
I wanted to expand on Ryan's question a little bit, just real quick. I'm just curious what your answer would be.
One more thing.
Just one more thing. I wrote down the third category of would be interested in as a series. Not one I think would maybe work better, but just one that I'd be interested in seeing what they do with it.
Okay, I got one.
Okay. The two that I wrote down, because again, I didn't know how quick this conversation was going, so I did two for every category.
Okay.
I just realized my autocorrect changed the name. But Bram Stoker's Dracula, I think, could work interesting because I've been through that book, and it is horrendous to read, but it's interesting because it's all diaries and journal entries. There's no two characters in a room. It switches between characters' diaries and journals. So it's absolutely a horrendous format to read.
So it's like if someone added all of the Dark Souls item descriptions together into a 300-page book. That
is exactly what this book is. So while I love that movie, and that movie's pretty faithful, there's still a lot with those characters going on that I think would be interesting as like a 1 season 10 episode thing. I think you could do a lot with. But the other one, I don't know why. I cannot explain why this is one of my favorite books, but we got this question, Ryan, right when I finished going back to the audiobook of this. So it was one of the first things that popped in my head. I don't know that it would work better. It was on my short list of maybe. That's how this category came about. Is 1984.
Oh, okay.
Because that book is so dense. And the movie does an amazing job. Both the actor portrayals and the way the world is set up and the way it's written. It does an amazing job adapting it. But it's only got like 90 minutes to 2 hours to really dig in.
Yeah.
And the ending of that book and the ending of that movie, you feel two different ways about, because in the book, I mean, how long have you been with Winston Smith and suffering what he's been suffering and everything for it to end the way that it does. Whereas in the movie, you're just like, and there it was when it happens. Not any fault of the movies. I just didn't spend as much time with Winston Smith.
Yeah, that's the thing.
As I did in the book. So I'm kind of curious how I would feel about a 1984 like 10 episode run.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd be all about that, because that's like one of my biggest blind spots is I've started that book multiple times and I've started the movie multiple times, but I've just never gotten around to finishing it. So it's just,
yeah, it's hard. It's a hard read. It's a hard listen,
especially now.
Especially
like, you remember like that little thing that happened a few years ago that like made it the number one purchased book, and you're just like, fuck, man. It was like number one on Amazon's book purchasing for like a month. And you're just like, we were at the fucking end of times, dude.
I went back through it. I go back through it periodically. I went back through it back then too. It's not a good idea, but I did it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Just all around, just
full ministry of love. That book is. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing, but I was thinking about, it's so dark and so grim, but we have so many successful properties like that, like Chernobyl and things like that.
Oh, dude, if you had Craig Mazin do the 1984 show,
yeah,
it would be fucking devastating. Have you watched The Last of Us yet, by the way?
No, I don't really intend to, but
you absolutely should. You absolutely should, because he has some episodes that have nothing to do with the game. Like,
I hear there's some weird like prequel stuff.
Yeah, they're like, its best episode has nothing to do with the game, and it is just Craig Mazin being the fucking amazing writer that he is. And
I hear they also switch up the intro to the game, but they nod to it, but they do something else.
It's really good, and like there's special effects on the clickers that, like, if they were to hypothetically do like a Hellboy show, the people that did the clickers being involved in the Hellboy creature effects would be amazing, because they sound and look awesome.
Nice.
It's great. Yeah, I think Craig Mazin being attached to like an 8-episode 1984 HBO miniseries would be like mind-blowingly good. That guy, after watching Chernobyl and The Last of Us, I think that guy can like do no wrong. It's just amazing.
I've seen neither, so I can't comment.
I'm gonna pick Chernobyl on here, and you're not gonna be able to like get yourself to get out of bed for like a month, because Chernobyl will like fucking wreck your soul. But it's fucking amazing, and it's like arguably like the best show I've seen. It's so fucking good.
Over Breaking Bad and everything.
It's fucking amazing. Jesus, and did you just like watching that? Like you like Jared Harris as much as I do. Like you don't even know. Like Jared Harris is fucking phenomenal in that series. So fucking good. And Stellan Skarsgård is the other lead. They're fucking amazing in that show.
Got a good cast.
Yeah, it's really good.
What would be one you'd be interested in? Don't know how it would work out, but you'd be interested to see it.
Carl Urban Dread TV show. I just want to see Carl Urban fire incendiary rounds on all types of people, and I will be there every week.
I would be there every week. I don't know if something that raw would get old.
Not the Carl Urban incendiary rounds, man.
after like the 6th episode, if it feels like every episode's the same or not, I don't know. I'd still be there every week though. Every other week. That's us. We're every other week. But I'd be there every week for it still. Just for Carl Urban, man. Someone
Carl
give
Urban,
the guy.
man.
He's trying so hard, and he's so good. He's always. I haven't seen The Boys, but he's always kind of the side character and everything.
Oh, he steals that entire show. He's the best part.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
And what is it?
Of course he does. He's Carl fucking Urban, dude.
Right?
He of course he steals the show.
I want you to meet Des and Troy.
Oh, dude, I just imagine him with the shake weight in that movie.
The dragon head slowly sliding towards him. So good.
Yeah, that's my main answer.
That's a good one.
It's basically just like, hey, that thing that I love that like was either just like one-off movie and then never touched on again because not enough people like watched it. That's what I want. I want more of the shit that I love that is like grossly underrated. I just want more of it.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to talk about Warrior though?
Warrior.
God damn it.
I'm not going to stop doing that.
It's so stupid. All right, Ron, what made you decide to bring also full spoilers for Warrior, which if you have not seen, go watch it.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I don't care if you don't like sports movies. It's just a good fucking movie. It has great acting in it. If you like movies, you owe it to yourself to watch it. Please go see it.
The whole MMA stuff it's not even a factor until about the last 35 minutes.
I know jack shit about MMA, and I really couldn't care less about like boxing or MMA or any professional fighting. I'm just not that interested in it, even though I am like a little bit of a sports guy. Like I watch football, I'll watch basketball, I'll watch baseball. It's like I'm kind of a sports guy, but not really, and I'm not really interested in professional fighting. But this movie's fantastic, and you should watch it.
I don't follow it, but I like boxing. I like MMA. I like MMA better. I think it's more interesting. Boxing is too much of kind of walking in a circle, tap, tap, tap-a-roo, trying to tire each other out before you actually go at it. It's like round 13 before they get in there and start going at it. Not
kind of like how like the Indy 500 is just dudes going around and around and
trying to
around for 5
maintain
hours.
until the end,
And then like
all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and then like the last 5 minutes is really interesting, but you just wasted your entire fucking Sunday watching people go in a circle.
Yeah, boxing and MMA lightweight, they really fucking go at it because they're not going to tire each other out. Heavyweight has never been interesting to me because it's literally just who gets tired first, who gets winded first. That's
or who accidentally like blocks the wrong way and gets fucking laid out.
Yeah, and then there's your loser. The one that got tired first is your loser. But lightweight, that's not going to happen. They can go all day, so they really get in there. And MMA, lightweight, and middleweight, they tend to just get in there and go at it. And it's like 5 rounds and it's done. You don't have a 15-round boxing match.
And what's also interesting too is like, and it's used to good effect in this movie. But the thing that does make MMA a lot more interesting than boxing and wrestling and any of the other professional like contact fighting types of things,
as opposed to non-contact fighting,
like mental arguing,
as opposed to professional tag,
professional you're it,
professional Red Rover.
It is interesting how in MMA all it takes is one slip up and you're fucked.
Yep,
that's cool. Where you can be also not the like strongest dude, but if your technique is sound,
and we have 2 examples of brute force and technique in this movie.
And it's interesting how like even though you might not, you can be technically like the slowest, the weakest, and win if you're technically sound and you're smart in how you like pace yourself in the middle of the fight. There's a lot more to it than like, and obviously people that know boxing better than you and I know like there is technique in that. Yes. But it's not as
readily apparent.
Like it is not as readily like apparent as to a non like diehard of the sport, to
the layman.
To me who knows nothing about it and can see like, oh, this guy was winning, he got over aggressive, he fucked up his positioning, he left an opening, and now he's tapped out. It's interesting how all it takes is one mistake. It makes it more interesting that you can lose at any time, even if you have been kicking the guy's ass the whole time.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me that we have a sports movie. Like I could describe to you, if I described this movie just out for what it is, it would sound like the worst sports movie of all time. Because it's like, oh yeah, it's a sports movie. It's not about the sport though. It's about the characters, and the sport is only really in the last 30 minutes. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why would I watch a sports movie that deals nothing with the sports? But I've never seen a movie that makes me care about so many characters as fast as this movie does. And not only do I care about them, I understand all of their positions. However you agree or disagree doesn't matter. You understand where they're coming from. Like their motivation is there. And we don't take 2 hours to explain the motivation. I clocked it. After the first 34 minutes, all the characters are in. Everyone's backstory is done. We're done. We're focusing on the here and now.
It's also just like, so what this movie does with setting up a sports movie where you don't have one singular team or person you're rooting for. That is like that's like a stroke of genius. Can you think of another one that does that? Because I cannot. Because typically what it is it's the underdog story. It's like, of course you're rooting for the main team in Friday Night Lights. Of course you're rooting for Rocky.
I mean, this is the director of Miracle.
Yeah, of course you're rooting for, like, you know what I mean? It's like, has there ever been another sports movie where
you don't know who to root for?
Where you don't know who to root for, and also the ending is bittersweet because the person you were rooting for, is both of the people. So one of them has to lose. It's like bittersweet automatically, and they don't revel in the victory. And that's another thing. Like the ending of this movie is really, really strong as far as just kind of like shifting away the focus in a really, really clever and like interpersonal way. Like you like these, there is no like fucking Mighty Ducks, we are the champions thing.
Right.
There is no kind of coup de grace. There is no like it's just like it's such a good movie, and it's like hard to put into words as far as like what makes it good, because it's such a simple idea that I don't know how it hadn't been done before. And it's so crazy.
What makes it so hard to describe is because you just have to watch it, because this movie has so much like heart in it and behind it that it's just there's no way you can effectively describe it to someone. That you just have to sit down and watch it.
So I know we talked about it briefly because we will typically queue up the next episode with the selection at the end of the episode. So like last time you talked a little bit about it, but what specifically made you want to bring it on the show? And we'll talk about like the cast and crew here in a second. But like, what was like your main driving force as far as what you wanted to kind of review about it on this show?
I had seen something recently that kind of made me think about it. And I don't remember what it was now. I've been tossing around the idea of bringing this to the show for a little bit. So I don't remember exactly what it was that I'd seen.
Okay.
But I think it's because I've been hearing a lot of like Rocky and like Creed talk, because it was just another Creed movie.
Isn't there like just recently been I think there was a new Creed sequel?
I think so. I've never seen a one. I don't know anything about Rocky or Creed.
I've seen the first Rocky and I've seen the first Creed, and they're both very good, but I have just not gotten around to the sequels.
Just one and out. Yeah.
People say the Creed sequels are really good. I want to watch them. It's just one of those things where like they're really good movies, but when I have just a giant fucking pile of shit to watch, like the boxing thing is not what I'm gonna be drawn to first. So it's like this thing could be amazing, and I probably will like them when I watch them, but I never get around to fucking watching them.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't help that to our generation, by the time we were born, pretty much, Stallone was already kind of a meme of himself, which is the only way we've ever kind of known him. You know, like I just, you know, you're the disease, I'm the cure, all that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like he turned out to be like an action hero, but what started his career, like the Rocky, is not that at all. You know, he's just a dude, and that's the point of the movie.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It's the same shit that happened with Die Hard.
Yeah.
It's like John McClane. The whole point that like that made him a cool character and made Die Hard cool was he's just a dude. If you shoot the glass, he fucking bleeds. He's not a superhero.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a dude.
Yeah.
And they just completely shifted into like also with Rambo. The first Rambo, have you seen First Blood?
I've never seen a Rambo movie.
The first
Rambo pause.
The first I just got a text and it like just completely shifted my train of thought.
It was perfectly timed.
It was I'm doing Shatner pauses now.
I heard the ellipses.
Oh fuck. I gotta go. I've become the problem. No, okay. The first Rambo
you'll either
movie,
die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the ellipses.
Yeah. The first fucking Rambo movie is about John Rambo dealing with PTSD because of the shit that happened to him in the past, and he turns out to just be like a gross fucking action hero who's indestructible, and it's like y'all fucking missed the point. It's like every fucking 80s action thing, if it gets sequels, it gets fucking ruined because he has to become a superhero, and it's just like y'all don't understand what made these characters cool or made these movies good. Those movies were like the first Rocky and the first Rambo are genuinely good because they were actually trying to make a movie that wasn't a meme. And then like to your point, like it's hard to look back at them without that baggage, but I think you probably still enjoy the first Rocky. I liked it when I watched it all the time ago, but it's been a minute.
But does Rocky pull the door off of a tank, Jeff? That's what I need to know.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Should have kept the receipt for your goldfish. Oh man.
You want to talk about the cast and crew?
Please, because
let's do it.
This is a great and underrated cast.
All right, let's start with the director, Gavin O'Connor. You mentioned earlier he had directed Miracle. He's directed this. He's directed a few other things. Have you watched anything else really from his? So he had directed Pride and Glory, which I think I might have seen. but I can't remember. Have you seen Miracle? I actually have not seen Miracle either, which is a shame because I've always heard it's really good and I love Kurt Russell.
I've always heard it's really good. I've never seen it. I love Kurt Russell.
I also, it's weird. I really like good sports movies, but I feel like I don't watch them very often. Even the ones that are supposed to be good, because it's another thing. It's just like I just never get around to it. It's like, man, I suck.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I've heard of a lot of his movies. I've never seen a one except for Warrior.
Yeah,
Warrior.
Which you picked the right one because this movie's fucking amazing.
There's an untitled accountant sequel. Why?
Yeah, I watched that movie and it's very forgettable.
Yeah,
I don't know why you make it.
I forgot about it until I just read accountant sequel. Oh my god.
Hard to drop a lot of confidence in your movie's called The Accountant. That's not even like it's supposed to like be clever because of the monotony behind it, but it just becomes monotonous as a property. So it's like the fucking snake eating its tail. It's like, okay.
Is he the fucking guy that starts the tournament in this movie?
Who?
Gavin O'Connor.
Maybe
he's uncredited as JJ Riley.
Oh yeah. JJ Riley is the dude. So he's the guy that made the UFC tournament thing in this.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that was him.
I saw his picture here and I was like, hang on a minute, he's the guy on the TV.
That's the guy.
That's the guy on the TV.
Movie. Yeah. So he just pulled the Tarantino and just put himself in the movie for no reason. So, okay, that's fair. You know, when this movie is as good as it is, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Right.
Gavin O'Connor also
is fucking good.
Yeah, it's very good. I just want to get lost in Tom Hardy's abs.
Dude,
it's like
Tom Hardy here is Eddie Brock. Like, holy shit.
Dude. Tom Hardy, the year after this, would be Bane and break Batman's back. And if you fucking made me fight one of them, I'm fighting Bane before I fight Tommy Conlon, dude. I'll take my fucking chances in Gotham against Bane. I got a better chance against the fucking theatricality and deception, dude, than I do against Tommy in this. Because he's a fucking murder machine in this.
I think my best bet's to run and hide in the sewer.
He's terrified. Yeah, dude. Please lock me up in the sewer and feed me fucking Chef Boyardee's for 6 months instead of fighting Tommy Conlon, dude.
No, I watched that movie. You're not going to last 6 months. Once the police come in, the whole sewer comes crashing down.
Well, oh my God. We always end up making fun of the stupidity of that movie. But they're alive.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Sometimes you just can't get rid of an entire police department. Because they're fucking submerged in an underground sewer implosion, and like they're all fine because they show them just like hanging out down there. Why is Bane keeping the cops alive? Why wouldn't he just go kill them all? Why does he care?
We're terrorizing Gotham with a dirty bomb. No one gets hurt.
That movie is so dumb. Okay, no. Back on topic. We can't make fun of Dark Knight Rises and James Cameron's Avatar every episode.
Did he actually see him, Jeff? Did he actually see him?
We got to get back on topic, dude. We got to get back on topic.
Warrior. Oh my God.
Okay.
So we got Gavin O'Connor directing and writing.
So he also co-wrote the story alongside Anthony Tambakis. I'm probably butchering that. I'm sorry.
Nailed it.
And yeah, absolutely. Cliff Dorfman helped with the story. Never seen the last name Dorfman, so that sounds like just like a Star Wars name.
That's a made up name.
Yeah, it's a made up. Like as if all names aren't made up.
We've already, I guess you could say, alluded to Tom Hardy. Speaking of, okay, so everyone here has a weird, tenuous Disney connection, right? So Tom Hardy is Venom, which is Sony, but he appeared at the end of the last Spider-Man movie. We've got Nick Nolte. This is I Have Spoken, right?
I Have Spoken.
Wasn't that Nick Nolte?
Yes, it was.
We got Uncle Owen, which is Joel Edgerton. Frank Grillo's fucking Crossbones.
Yeah, we got Bane.
We got Bane and Crossbones.
We got Crossbones. We've got the dad from Transformers. We have it all, dude.
Yep.
We have it all.
We've got
Sitwell from fucking Shield. Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. We have a Hydra spy that was in Shield with a fucking weird mustache that looks like it's glued to his face. Yeah, this movie.
No, it's a symbiote. It's a symbiote.
Instead of the symbiote being my clothes, I just make it my mustache.
So the ending of this movie is they send Tom Hardy into hiding again, and his new name is Eddie Brock, and he got the symbiote from Sitwell's mustache.
It turns out Joel Edgerton was Batman all along, and Bane went into the ring trying to break his back.
It's like what was the Shield tagline? It's all connected by Sitwell's mustache.
That man's playing Galaga. Yeah,
he didn't think we saw it, but we saw it. Yes. No, there's and Jennifer Morrison. She gave birth to James T. Kirk, and her husband, and that was Thor. Yeah. So everything is connected. It's all connected, man.
The MCU is the web that connects everything.
I feel like since Disney just owns every IP that has ever existed, everyone's connected automatically just because they like it's how ironic is it that Disney now is the fucking empire? Like they are the empire.
It's not the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon anymore. It's the 6 degrees of Walt Disney.
6 degrees of Sitwell's mustache.
Sitwell's mustache. Oh, man, that's the only thing. Every time I see it, every time it showed him, I'm like, that mustache is fucking glued on.
I just see him now. Granted that dude's in this movie and he's fine.
Yeah,
he's
fine.
Good as Sitwell.
He's great.
I can't not see him as Agent Sitwell because he's Agent Sitwell.
He's so good as Agent Sitwell. He's so great
good
in this, but he's so good as Agent Sitwell.
I
just see him getting dropped off of a building by Captain America and Falcon bringing him back up.
Yeah, but man, how good are the fucking performances in this movie? They're so good.
All of the performances in this movie is so good. And no matter how much of a shitbag you think someone might be, you understand why they're a shitbag.
Dude, Nick Nolte in the front yard of Brendan's house.
It's so painful.
Is devastating to watch. When Brendan walks away and his kids, when he said it's just a nice old man. He won't even tell them that he's their grandfather. And you're just like, oh, it hurts your fucking. This movie will hurt your soul, dude. And it's so good.
Nick Nolte is just pouring it out. He's working so hard in this movie. It's so good.
Well-deserved Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor for him.
Nick Nolte is one of those. Yeah, he's one of those that if you let him off the chain, he'll chew up some scenery. But when he turns it on, he's so good.
He's amazing in this. Also, not even just an actor, but I think Joel Edgerton is like criminally underrated. I think he's amazing. He's fantastic. Have you ever seen The Gift?
No.
Okay, I have to have that on the show because you will really like it. It's fantastic. So The Gift, he not only is one of the leads, he fucking wrote and directed it.
Oh, really?
He's amazing. He also directed something recently that was like it was like a horror movie. What was it called? Vamp for a second. I had to figure out what the movie was that he directed.
All I could think right now after you said Vamp was Uncle Owen Emperor, no. John Williams, no.
Maybe he didn't. So like I have to have The Gift on here. I think he was like a co-writer on something.
Every one of his images on IMDb also, he looks very different. Oh,
he's
hang
amazing.
on. Is he in, what is this still from? Is he in that? No, this is from Black Mass. I was going to say, was he the guy, does that politician had an affair and ended his career back when that was a thing that could happen?
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, the horror movie, he didn't write and direct it, but he started and he's fantastic in it as well. Did you ever see It Comes at Night?
Giggity. No.
Really good movie.
Moving right along. It's a really good movie.
Moving right along. He's really good. He's really good in The Green Knight as well. Man.
What about
Joel
Hank
Edgerton?
the Cowdog?
Joel Edgerton is good in everything. And I just feel like he never gets like the respect he deserves. He's also just like really talented as a writer and director after you watch that fucking movie. Like The Gift is like a thriller in the style of like Hitchcock. It's really good. I'll have to have it on here.
Oh, isn't No, that's different than what I was thinking of. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, shit! He's in your favorite movie, The Thing.
Oh, we don't talk about it. Oh, also that fucking prequel has an amazing cast that they did nothing with. It's a travesty because that has Mary Elizabeth Winstead, man.
Damn right it does.
How do you have you in your movie?
And apparently Joel Edgerton.
Yeah, he's like one of the main dudes, I think. God, we don't talk about The Thing prequel, please.
Shit, I've been watching him forever. He's in Smoking Aces. I do not remember him. He looks so different in every movie he's in.
Yeah, he really does.
Maybe that's why I don't remember. Maybe I've been watching more of his movies than I thought.
Yeah, him and how crazy is it? Back talking about Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy can change his voice. I know, obviously, like the meme with Bane, but like if you just watch like his standard roles,
he does a great Tony Todd.
His the way that he can change his voice in his more dramatic roles that aren't, just like the superhero-y stuff. He's amazing. Like, he's so good. Like, think of like his voice in this movie versus him in like Inception. Like he can really change his voice and really just changes like the whole like outside of his character, but just based on what he can do with his voice. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. He's a weird one for me because anytime I watch Tom Hardy, I feel like I've seen everyone. I feel like if you've seen one of his performances, you've seen them all, but they're also all very different at the same time. Like, I recognize a lot of the body movements that he does and a lot of the facial expressions that he does, but it's never a problem. Like, it always works with whatever the scene is. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. There's like a lot of like think of the physicality.
He's got a lot of go-tos, but think of the
physicality of his performance in this versus him as Mad Max. They're very, very different.
Very different.
There's like a lot of like nuance to like his intensity that he has in his more like physical roles.
By the way, he was
interesting.
Fucking brilliant as Mad Max.
Also, do you remember him in The Revenant? He's like the villain in The Revenant. He's really good at that too.
I'm trying to remember. Oh! I remember The Revenant. Yes,
the bear movie, man. The bear.
Yeah, he's going around scalping people, right?
Yeah, he's great in that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Why did you? I seared that movie out of my head, and you brought it all back.
Oh, I actually kind of like that movie. Granted, it's like a meme, but I thought it was fine.
No. Just no.
Didn't like watching Leo fight the bear.
I don't think Leo fought the bear. I think Leo fought the bear and the bear won. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, that was a weird movie.
That was a real strange one.
I liked it though.
And again, you're talking about Tom Hardy's voice. He had a real choice in that movie with his voice.
Yeah, it's like the person he reminds me of is Pattinson. Like there's a couple of movies of like Robert Pattinson's like indie movie career that I'm gonna have on here eventually, where Pattinson also does like really, really bizarre choices with his voice, but it's always interesting because he's not just playing the same dude. Like they really go all out and like the thing you got to give to like Tom Hardy and like Pattinson and guys like that, when they make a choice, they're fucking committed to it.
They're committed.
They go all out, and I respect that about them a lot. Just like I said, I would rather fight Bane, the terror of Gotham, than Tom Hardy in Warrior, dude, because he is fucking scary.
Yeah, he's so vicious, and I love the thing that I think I love about the fight scenes in this movie is how their personalities and just the shit that they're dealing with comes out in the way they fight. Yeah. Like Tom Hardy is just fucking angry,
raw anger,
and it's just driving everything that he does. He is gone. Tommy Conlon does not exist anymore. It's just raw fury. He's fucking Kratos.
Yeah, he really is.
He really is. And then Brendan, Joel Edgerton, I don't know if desperate's the word, but he's definitely in the corner, right? He's definitely being pushed in a corner. He's like a wild animal being cornered, and he is outgunned at almost every turn. I think it's kind of inferred that he's maybe even too old for the ring. He's washed up a little bit. He was always the underdog during his career. And
it was like he was always like so close but so far away.
Yeah,
because like they talk about like recognizing him because he had been in UFC stuff like several years before, but he's now kind of like a has-been. You know, like
right.
he was never. He's like one of those like a minor league kind of baseball player. You know, where it's like you're on the cusp of being like the best in the world, but you're so close but so far away. You know,
right. Yeah, he and the way that he fights, he's outgunned and outmatched, so he has to out finesse and he has to have a better technique because he can't KO everyone the way Tommy is.
Yeah.
So he has to kind of dance around him and look for his opportunity. And some of those are fucking grueling when he's sitting there trying to take it, and you got Frank Grillo in the corner.
Dude.
Don't you tap out. Don't you tap out.
Dude, the fucking fight scenes in this are brutal to watch. Like when you watch people and they're in like a fucking headlock, like they sell it. Like you think they're about to fucking pass out. Or like they do a great job of conveying what looks to be actual MMA. Like it doesn't look like Hollywood like glamorized at all. It looks
well.
Like
a lot
legit.
of the people they're fighting are actual MMA fighters.
I just mean from like when it looks like Joel Edgerton is being choked out, it looks like he's about to fucking pass out in real life. Like they really sell this shit.
I don't know that they're selling it. I think they might actually be doing it.
It might have actually just been about knocking him out cold.
If you remember, there was a string. I was telling Chris this. There was a string of sports movies where like, you know, like the UFC, MLB, NBA, they're like officially sanctioned movies. So you've got actual players and fighters in the movies. You're using the actual names. You're actually saying NBA and not creating something different. You know, in this movie, we've got UFC being tossed around left and right. We're in like actual, like what looks to be a real UFC arena. And we've got actual MMA fighters coming and going because it's an officially sanctioned thing. There was a time and place where they were trying to use movies as a way to be the gateway to try to get more people into the sport, and also just trying to be injected a little bit into pop culture. So this movie had a lot in that respect, hinging on being as real to the sport as it could. And, you know, it looks like a goddamn MMA match with the exception of a lot of the fast edits and stuff, because things do slow down a little bit in the range. It's not always that intense. But for the most part, like you said, they sell it pretty good. And some of those, I think Joel Edgerton is actually having done to him.
Yeah, it's brutal.
I think a lot of the headlocks and shit like that. I think being when he was literally tossed around like a rag doll in the ring, that's obviously a stunt man. But I'm pretty sure when he's being choked out and shit, he's actually being choked out because he's changing colors, dude.
Yeah, it's intense. And you also just have to give major kudos to both Edgerton and Tom Hardy. You can tell, like, obviously because of how ripped they are, they were working out insanely hard to be in shape for this, to make it look like they could actually be MMA fighters. But
while
their technique is it comes across as real, because they probably trained for like 6 months on this shit at the very least, just to get ready for the role of like actually being able to present yourself as either a professional or a semi-professional MMA fighter.
And one thing I love also is Tom Hardy with his character looks the way you would expect his character to be, right? He's literally just Bane before he's Bane. He looks like he's on Venom, right? Which is, I just realized, is ironic because Bane is on Venom and he is Venom. I'm getting confused, Jeff.
It's all connected.
It's all connected via mustache.
Just look at the stash.
Just look. Not too deep. You'll never come back. But Joel Edgerton,
once you stare so far into the stash stares back into you.
Like Joel Edgerton's character in this, like I wouldn't look at his wife twice because he's that ripped. But he also looks like a retired fighter that became a school teacher. He's not nearly as ripped as Tom Hardy, and you wouldn't expect him to be. Tom
Hardy's, is it the deltoid that is the muscles on the side of your fucking neck?
I believe.
Tom Hardy's delts could be in the cast with like fourth and fifth billing.
You could see them under his t-shirts.
It looks like he could like it's scary. He looks terrifying because he looks like he could like you know how he rips the fucking door off or whatever like off the tank. I think he did that with his deltoids. I think he used his neck. I think he just headbutted it really good, and then the tank broke. I think because have you seen this man's fucking deltoids? It's terrifying.
All he did was grab the handle and flex. He didn't even pull.
Yeah, he just flexed. That's all it took, man. Yeah,
he just flexed, and the tank said nope, and just opened. But
I like how like Tom Hardy's delts are like a Chuck Norris joke now.
I just want like a t-shirt or a hat or something that's just Tom Hardy's delts. Tom Hardy dealt you a hand. But Joel Edgerton, like he's ripped. He looks like a fighter, but he does look like a retired fighter. You know what I mean? Like he's not nearly as ripped as Tom Hardy. So they had 8 weeks to train for this thing. So they didn't go out and make him as ripped as Tom Hardy is in this. Whereas Tom Hardy was a goddamn Marine. He was trained to be a fighter. He was also
preparing to take over Gotham City, like literally, because he was prepping for Bane. So they got him like he's like 50% Bane in this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like you would expect him to be bigger, you know. So
I also love. Have you ever heard Tom Hardy actually in real life in interviews? People asked him in the interview circuit leading up to Dark Knight Rises, like how the fuck he got so like just massive for Bane. Have you ever heard his answer to that?
No.
It's really great. He said, and I quote, "Oh yeah, I ate entire villages of chickens." It's awesome.
The one that I heard was John Bernthal and Tom Holland trained together. When Tom Holland was going to be Spider-Man and John Bernthal was going to be Punisher, they actually trained together. And Tom Holland tells a story of when he thinks like I think he's bench pressing and he's to the point that he's trying to tap out basically. And his spotter is the goddamn Punisher. And he's like, no, he's like, you're going to keep pushing because you're going to be Spider-Man. He's like, you are Spider-Man. You keep pushing. And like, he would push. And that he accredited John Bernthal for how ripped he was as Spider-Man.
Yeah, because I couldn't say no to John Bernthal screaming at me because he'd probably kill me with the bench press bar.
I'm sure John Bernthal is a very nice man. I am terrified of him because of every role he's ever played.
John Bernthal is the ultimate wild card in everything.
After The Walking Dead and after
he's either
Punisher,
trying to steal your wife or murder an entire mafia.
Why not both?
Yeah.
That's the next step in his career.
Between.
The next step in his career is he's doing both.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm sure he's a very nice guy. I want nothing to do with him. I will give him a wide berth if I see him in a Walmart or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the whole like the nod like the Unstoppable Force meets the immovable object. That is Tom Hardy in this movie and John Bernthal as the Punisher. If they fight, everyone just dies in a fucking nuclear explosion.
It's like Dragon Ball Super rules. Like two gods cannot fight because the universe cannot handle it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's talk about too a genius aspect of this movie that is very subtle, but I realized it on this watch because I don't think I was studying like movies as closely back when I watched this as I do now, especially when it's something we're going to cover for the show. Ron, how incredible is it that when they frame the conversations, like the conversation in the front yard of Brendan's house that we talked about, and also when they meet, when the two brothers meet for the first time and talk on the beach, how they frame their conversations as if they're in an octagon, like they frame it like a fight. That is genius and awesome.
A lot of the camera angles, a lot of the close-ups on their faces and stuff is very similar to when they're in the ring later.
Yeah, like when they're on the beach and just, like...
It's not often you film a dialogue as an action sequence,
Yeah, but their acting is so good and the dialogue is so good that, like, they're trading jabs. Like, the fucking things they say to each other hurt more than the punches later.
Yeah. And
it's brutal.
And
neither of them are wrong and neither of them are right. There's, like, so much gray area in their their backstories.
Like I said, whether you agree or disagree with anyone, it doesn't matter. You understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, so like let's talk about it too, in case people like are. So watch the movie, because while we've talked about a lot of it, we haven't spoiled everything. Because
I mean, to
a lot
be fair,
of it
that is the premise of this podcast.
True. But if you haven't watched it, so these two brothers that have this like really tragic backstory. So like the basic backstory is their father was a perennial drunk to the point to where both the sons can't stand to even look at the father. They both kind of like written them out of their life.
Not just drunk, he was abusive too.
Yeah, he was abusive. At one point to kind of get away.
Hard to find a woman that can take a punch these days, is what Tom Hardy says to him.
Yeah, he was a real piece of shit in the past. And the father now, he's gone through the 12 steps to kind of become sober. He's been sober for about 3 years. He's I love the decision to have him like constantly like listening to Moby Dick on audiobook.
Yes.
Because that is such like a specific real life thing. It's like such a specific detail. It's like, you remember in the Equalizer, when they made Denzel OCD?
Yeah.
That just kind of like really specific real life like character quirk. I really like. It kind of like gives it like a lot of what's the word? Just to make it as like realistic as possible. But it really, really makes it like ostensibly like this is a real person when you add those kind of like
humanizes them.
Yeah, humanizes them. It's such a specific detail that kind of adds just so much realism to it. But
and like I said, there's a metaphor that comes to a head later in the hotel with that.
Yeah,
with the Moby Dick story. Exactly.
And when they were kids, the mom finally had enough and got away from him.
Good for her.
And it was going to take, both the kids, took Tom Hardy with her. They left to like the West Coast and went to like the Pacific Northwest, I think, like, all the way across the country, right? I think they talk about it a little bit.
He said they went as far west as they could. When they hit water, they went north. I think that's all they really say.
Yeah, they went as far away as humanly possible from their dad because their home life was just so abusive and so terrible. And Joel Edgerton, who it was a little bit older, decided to stay because he was dating the love of his life. And what's really tragic about that is you get it from... So Tom Hardy's character feels betrayed because he elected to stay with his girlfriend instead of moving with his little brother and his mom. So he looks at it as like, man, you decided to stay with your girlfriend. And then Joel Edgerton,
she's my wife.
Now in the future. She's my wife and she's the mother of my children.
Yeah.
So they're both right.
Yeah.
It is a little bit fucked up to stay with your girlfriend. It's not fucked up with hindsight to have stayed with the love of your life, who is the mother of your children.
The thing that this movie
totally different.
The thing that this movie keeps doing, the juxtaposition here throughout the entire movie is time. Because one is kind of hung up on the past. One, the past has shaped his here and now, but that's where he lives, is the here and now. He's a product of his past. The other one is hung up in the past, and that's the way they both view the world. And that is the juxtaposition between the brothers, between the way they look at the father, everything. Time is the thing that separates everyone in this.
And it's like so brilliant too, just like the way that they're fighting and having to like reevaluate what their past, what their family, like what fighting in general with this MMA sport like means to them. Tom Hardy is just using this fight primarily to just like shut his brain off. It feels like he is just so traumatized by what happened to him with his family, and then in the Marines, like they talk about like what happened to make him go AWOL is just heartbreaking and devastating. And he ends up, also wanting to get this money, not for himself, but to donate it all to the wife and kid of his buddy in the Marines that was killed with friendly fire. And that story is just like so devastating. And it's so real too, because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens all
they're
the
real
time.
Specific. It's not like he killed his friend. He was with his friend. He was fired upon as well.
Yeah. And it's just like, fuck yeah, you go AWOL. Like, how do you come back from that? It's fucked up.
Really.
Yeah. It's really devastating. But so he is like using fighting as a way to kind of like shut his brain off and just be able. It's like the only thing he has that it can actually like unleash this just insane amount of anger that is built up within him. It's like the only release he has.
Imagine he's he didn't have a family. His mom dies, right? His family life was horrible. They leave. His mom dies. He joins the Marines. He gets a new family, and the Marines fire upon him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's betrayed in his mind by that family as well. So again, he leaves. So yeah, like it's just so tragic all the way around.
And it's so the way that like the family drama is like intertwined with like their relationship with like the sport too is really good.
In the end, they are fighting for the same thing. They're both fighting for what they see as their family, right? Joel Edgerton has a family. Tom Hardy is his buddy's family. He seems to be trying to take care of the dude's wife and kid.
Yeah, he feels responsible because he feels more like his buddy in the Marines. He feels more like and he straight up tells Joel Edgerton that on the beach. He's like, "Were you in the Corps? No, then you're not my brother. That was my brother."
Yeah,
you know. And it just like also just like the whole nuance of family for a soldier versus the family of someone who lives, you know, just in a standard family it's really interesting. This movie is a fucking MMA movie that has so much like depth to the interpersonal like family relationships is insane.
Yeah,
it's so well written and it's not overwritten. So much of it is conveyed in the acting,
and
I think this does a lot of like less is more. Where
absolutely,
they have so much that is just conveyed in like a look from Tom Hardy or like the way they speak to each other. Like there are some lines where it's just like the way that Tom Hardy, like for instance, when Tom Hardy is walking out for his first match in the main tournament, and his dad is like doing the kind of like trainer thing of like hyping him up, and he's like massaging his shoulders, you know, like getting him hyped, and he's just like, "Get your hands off me."
Yeah, it's
like, oh, it's so cold and it's so like heartbreaking. And like Nick Nolte carries so much of the movie in just how much guilt he's able to convey in just his expressions.
In his eyes. His eyes.
It's you can't help but feel for him. Even though he was a piece of shit, he's trying so hard to repent in the only way he knows how of connecting with his kids, even though they don't want nothing to do with him. And you can't blame them because he was an abusive drunk.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, man, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
And you know, you're wrapped up in all of this, not even realizing that you're watching an MMA movie and you've seen very little MMA at this point. But when you do get there, all the family drama, all the characters and their quirks and all their baggage, when it comes to a head in the ring, like that is some of the most emotional I've ever been in a sports movie.
Man, also the characters they show like kind of like rooting them on. How wholesome is it when the principal is watching the fight at home and like cheering them on? I love that scene so much.
And the next time it cuts to him in the next fight, his wife's on the couch with him.
Yeah, and then eventually
he's
just
escalating. He's at the drive-in movie theater with the students.
Yeah, eventually he is at the drive-in movie theater with the kids that were trying to use the auditorium at the school for the watch party. Now like the whole town is just at the fucking drive-in watching it. No, because of course they are. It's their fucking like science teacher or the physics teacher. You know, like on a fucking national stage doing an MMA tournament. It's like of course they're watching it. You know?
He would be the coolest teacher ever at that point.
Yeah, and he already kind of is because he's just like one of those like, you know, when you were in school and you had those like rare teachers that like actually knew how to like convey and connect with their students by making it more than just like regurgitating shit from a textbook.
Yeah.
So he's already like an awesome teacher that they love. And you add in the fact that he's the fucking like hometown MMA hero now. Like, it's awesome.
Let me get this straight. You want to watch your former teacher who got suspended do the thing he got suspended for in the auditorium from the school he got suspended from. Like, it's just like, and then cut to he's at the drive-in theater with them, and they're all like wearing t-shirts and stuff. Like, it's amazing.
I also love how what is it? Tess, is that the wife of Joel Edgerton? Yeah, Tess.
It won't scroll. IMDb won't scroll. What do I do?
Her name is Tess. The actress is Jennifer Morrison. I love the progression with her too, where she is so opposed to it because she was with Brendan in the past when he had his shot at the sport, but you know he just was constantly being beat up, could never quite like reach the top, and she can't even bring herself to like watch his first fight. She is like just painfully like sitting by her cell phone waiting for the text of whether he won or not.
I love those scenes of her so much. She's such a nervous wreck. Like she's literally folding like a single shirt on the kitchen counter over and over and like she's sitting next to her phone when it shows her just like staring over the back of her couch, staring at the phone, and when it finally goes off and she like leaps for it and runs over to it, and then she hesitates because she doesn't want to, she realizes it could be bad news right as she goes to reach for it.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I mean, even all the way down to Frank Grillo, right? Like he wants to be a good friend, but he feels like in doing so he's going to get his friend killed. Like he's straight up just asked him how much money he needs at the beginning. Like all the way down to just the mixed emotions Frank Grillo has, and when the inevitable question comes, and he's just like no, and then it eventually just comes to, I'll make a call, and you can tell he's just kind of thinking like, there's no way,
there's no shot, and
then he gets in.
So the thing is, and like he's not wrong. Joel Edgerton's character is not good enough at fighting. He just has all the motivation in the world. That's the thing. Is like technically some of these fighters are even better than Tom Hardy. It's just that Tommy has just so much fucking rage. He's just an absolute loose cannon that is just like, dude, he's unstoppable because of how angry he is. It's more than just a sport to him. It is like his only release valve in the world is in the octagon.
When he's fighting Mad Dog and Frank Grillo tells him you have to knock him out because if you don't, there's no house.
Oh, like, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
man.
I think he says like you have no home.
You have no home? Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
man.
This movie.
How fucking gut-wrenching is the first Brendan fight in the tournament? Like when he almost gets knocked out like 2 or 3 times. Right. And it comes down to like the last second when he basically I think it's interesting. His first couple of wins are because the people are just underestimating him, I think.
Right. That's absolutely what happens with his first fight. Because
they are understandably underestimating him because he shouldn't even be there. He's there as like a backup option because the main fighter that Frank Grillo was training.
He's a feeder fish in a Shark Tank.
Yeah, and like Joel Edgerton isn't even initially training with Frank Grillo for this tournament. He is just training with him because he's doing those like little bitty fights, for like $500 to $1,000 along the road, like he says at the beginning, like his first fight that he gets,
he made more in 2 hours than he would in a month bouncing.
Yeah. And it's in the parking lot of a strip club.
I mean, is that a straight up fuck you, Patrick Swayze?
Oh, Roadhouse.
Yeah. Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Roadhouse. Warrior.
Yeah. Man. This fucking movie. Let's talk about like the roller coaster ride of emotions that is the last fight between Tommy and Brendan.
Dude, it is so painful, even on an emotional level, to watch that fight.
It's tough because like you are rooting for both of them because you cannot help but feel so much empathy for their position.
And like I told Chris as we were going into that fight, like, they are literally taking all of their baggage into the ring, and the ring is where they end up working out their problems because that conversation on the beach is not it, like they're not going to work this out any other way. It has to come to blows.
Yeah. They have to be in a position to where like they actually can convey like their emotions, and the only way they can properly convey their emotions is by fighting because that's what's in their blood. That's what they've been around like their whole life. And dude, how devastating is it to watch when Tom Hardy's shoulder gets dislocated?
Oh my god,
dude, that sound effect.
And again,
when he dislocates his shoulder is hard to
Tom Hardy is clearly the better fighter, but Joel Edgerton's technique is better, and he just gets him into a position that he can. I'm starting to feel like you and I are actually commentating on a real fight. He gets him into a position where he has the option, and Frank Grillo's yelling at him to like basically take him out of this fight, and he's not wanting to do it because they're still having their brother to brother, heart to heart.
And it's also just it's hard to do that to your family.
And
he's doing it's a serious injury. Like he fucks up his shoulder really bad.
Yeah. And he needs to win also.
Yeah, he needs to win or he has no home. And dude, so that's like I think
he's not your brother, he's in the way.
Yeah. And dude, when Tom Hardy starts up the next round and his arm is limp,
and he's just
he's still fighting with one arm. And you're just like, good God.
Not only is he that angry, he's a Marine. I mean, what else do you expect? You know?
Yeah.
And his brother's just dancing around him like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you doing? I can't fight you. You like, why is this still going? He's constantly he's also constantly looking over to the referee like, bro, his arm is dislocated. Why are we still having this fight? And like they're letting it go because of course they do. Because they do that shit all the time in professional sports because the event supersedes the people in professional sports.
Not only that, it's professional sports is not at all about the sport. It's about the drama. And I'm talking real life, not the movie. Like that's what sells WWE, right? Like everybody knows it's fake, but the drama is what everybody tunes in for.
Yeah.
And
the story
in the NFL, they let shit happen to rile up everybody, to get the drama, to get everyone talking about the game. And when the cheap shot happens in this movie, right? And Frank Grillo is just like, Josh, at the referee.
Yeah, he's like, do your job.
And then when he's like, yeah, we're taking more time because of the cheap shot. And then when he's not fixing him up, as he walks out of the ring, do your damn job, Josh.
I love Frank Grillo in this.
And
Frank Grillo's awesome in this too.
You're just sitting on the couch like, yeah, Josh, do your damn job.
Yeah, fuck you, Josh.
Like shit like that. Like that's not a drama point for the movie. Professional sports of all kinds do that in real life for the fuck of it. You'll see it in tennis, basketball, soccer, everything. The drama is what the game is why people are tuning in, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the call the referee didn't make, or they're talking about something a player did to another player, or something a player did to another player that did not get called or flagged.
It actually just happened in the most recent Super Bowl where like the Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl was an amazing game. And all anyone was talking about was the pass interference call at the end that was called on the Eagles. That's all anyone talked about for like the next week, even though that game was amazing. That game was like an all-time classic, like level good. But because of one decision and like one missed call or one correct call, depending on how you look at it, like just like the arguments that spawn off of it, it's like professional sports. It's just like you said, it's just like a fucking drama machine, and it's all about the story of it and like the water cooler talk.
Exactly,
that's gonna happen. Yeah,
that's the fandom. Something like the NFL, fans are diehard. That's what's gonna get them to the game. The thing that's gonna make them talk and care about what just happened most of the time is the bullshit, and sometimes that shit is manufactured. Like that's just the way it works.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna make that call because that's going to drum up all the drama. That's going to get everybody riled.
How cool is it that once the fight's called,
two nerds talking about sports, everybody.
How cool is it that what's like one thing I love about the ending of this too is there isn't that moment where like, so Joel Edgerton, once the fight's over, he is just so concerned about his brother. He couldn't have like he's happy that he won because of what it sets up for his family. But he is all he can focus on is helping his little brother.
First, let's start with $5 million. Like we're so used to hearing like multi-millions and multi-billions. $1 million is a life-changing amount of money for the average person.
Yeah.
He just won $5 million. 20,000 of which he will see when the government is done. But he just won literally a life-changing amount of money. Even if he just gave that soldier's family $1 million, that changes their life forever. Like, and he would still have $4 million for himself.
Which I think is what happened. At the very least, he gives them $1 million because, like, how could he not? Like, he's too good of a dude. You know?
Knowing what he knows and stuff, how could he not?
How could he not? And also,
but this movie doesn't linger on details like that, which is one of the things I love about it.
Yeah, the ending is genius because the ending shows you that it's like the most important thing that happens to these two isn't the money. It's the thing that like they are finally able to reconnect as brothers after all of this time.
The military police are waiting for Tom Hardy to leave that ring.
Yeah. Yeah, now granted, because of the publicity behind this, my headcanon for this, they never go into it. They never say what happens to the characters. But I have to think if he gets convicted at all from the military police, it has to be like a drastically reduced sentence when they figure out like it was friendly fire, right? Like,
I feel like with everything drummed up in this movie, all the publicity and stuff like you said, it would be like a dishonorable discharge. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, that like yeah.
I don't think he would.
No chance he ends up in jail.
They're not going to anger all of the Marines by putting him in prison. I think it would be a dishonorable discharge. Get the fuck out. Don't come back.
Yeah, agreed. There's no chance they. So I think
he's gonna get arrested. He's gonna go through the motions. But yeah, I don't think he's doing.
It's also
prison time, especially since he's doing this fight, beating the shit out of his own family to try to get $5 million for this other Marine's family.
Yeah,
that's a bad
fucking
look
widow and child of a fucking Marine that was killed by friendly fire. And you're gonna put the guy in jail.
Not only that, Jeff. Am I correct in her husband he's an immigrant, right? In the Marine Corps? He's an immigrant, died fighting for our country, or at least at the very least he's not white, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
They're the PR.
Dishonorable discharge, get the fuck out, don't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so cool that the movie, like all sports movies, revel in the "we are the champions" moment.
Yes.
Except for this one, because it is not what's important.
It's not about the fight. It's about what happened during the fight.
It's about what happened, and it's about like them finally being able to come to terms. And like when he tells him in the ring, you know, like I love you, Tommy. You know,
as he's like choking him out and holding him.
Yeah, and it's
so
like in
brutal.
that moment he can finally. It's like he can finally be at peace with what happened. You know, it's like it takes all of this chaos over the last few weeks of them training and all these fights and everything, and him getting this rage out of his system, and like just to be able to have like a human moment finally. And he's able to just like release that pent up anger.
You know, and the genius thing with the movie fading out with them leaving the cage is, I mean, the wounds are so deep that odds are they're not just best of friends after this, because that's just not the way real life works. But the movie doesn't concern itself with trying to convince you of anything one way or another. You just see what happens. You see them work it out. It doesn't mean they're a family again. You just see them work it out, and then it fades.
It's a conversation
to black.
starter.
Yeah,
like it's on the table now for them to, you know, they're not going to be hanging out, you know, like watching the game on Sunday evenings with each other, because that's just not the way they are.
Right.
But they will be able to hold a conversation. They will be open to the idea of being brothers again when they have been like just straight up diametrically opposed for 20 years.
And you know Tom Hardy wants it, because by the way, what the hell? That's an opening for a movie, right? The first 10 minutes of the movie, Tom Hardy's sitting on his dad's doorsteps. Dad drives up. The conversation I think it's in the first 10 minutes. You hear the line I quoted earlier, and he said, "Yeah, it's hard to find a woman that can take a punch these days."
Man,
I think that's in like the first 10 minutes. I think it's right after the title card.
Yeah, they are not fucking around with showing just like how fucked up they're and it makes it like it makes it real.
Yeah,
because like families, even if your family doesn't have as much trauma as this one, there's complication there, because that's just the way families are. You know, like there's always history, and there's always going to be even if you have like, you know, quote unquote, like good relationships with like a good relationship with your parents, there's always some form of like disagreement. You know, there's just always some type of baggage, and for them to like just really like lay it all out there, and like Nick Nolte just like care, like, dude, one scene that makes me want to just like fucking cry is when Nick Nolte goes to Tom Hardy in the casino.
Oh my god.
Their acting is so good, and there's like one thing I can use like to describe the relationship between Nick Nolte with the sons and with the two brothers is it feels very actually lived in.
Yes.
There's no like false pretense to it. It all feels real. They feel like all of that hidden animosity that like it is just conveyed with a look between, you know, like the two brothers and the dad, is it feels so lived in. It feels so real and so raw. Like this movie is just incredible.
They were given a character sheet and said, move forward from here. This is your motivation. Basically, the history is there. The movie does not concern itself with that. The audience will figure it out. The audience is smart enough to figure it out as we go along. The back to the point, I got lost in my own point earlier. When Tom Hardy, at the beginning, like the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, he's looking at all the pictures on the mantle. His reaction to seeing his brother and then seeing like his brother has kids. That's new. Like you can tell that he wants his brother back. You can tell in that moment he wants his brother back. But every time he interacts with his brother, it's not until the ring we start working shit out.
Yeah, because he just feels so betrayed. Yeah, and you can't blame him.
You can't blame him.
You really can't blame him. But man, yeah,
even if you see him as a villain, you can't blame him. You know.
Yeah. They're all a little bit in the right and they're all a little bit in the wrong.
Yeah,
and that is always such like a good starting point for your characters, because it makes it so much more interesting when everyone has layers to them that doesn't make it, you know, so like kind of ones and zeros about it. You know, it's just so interesting how these family members, you can kind of tell like they deep down, especially like Tom Hardy, like they want these interpersonal connections back. They want a family, they want a brother, but to dig through the baggage to get that back just feels like so insurmountable.
I think I know how to sum up everything you're talking about with the family history and how lived in everything is with one line from Frank Grillo. Because the way they keep conveying the history between all the characters and stuff, one of the first things Frank Grillo says when we first see him on screen is, does Tess know about this? Is she going to come down into my shop and start yelling at me? Because this has clearly happened before, right?
Yep.
He's clearly has a history with Tess coming at him because he was Joel's trainer, Brendan's trainer.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, that's a perfect example of just how fleshed out we're doing with the history and how we're just letting the audience piece it together from what is being shown and what is being said.
Man, yeah, it is so clever in its simplicity.
Yeah, and the way it doesn't. If this movie was made today, I feel like a full hour, maybe more, of this movie would be, we would see them as kids actually getting beat by their father. We would see him go down in his fight. We'd see him in the hospital with Tess crying over him. We probably would have seen the shots with the Marines and stuff.
Yeah.
But this movie doesn't concern itself with that. It's got a very laser focus on what it wants to do. It takes just the amount of time it needs to do it, and then it gets out and it goes home.
Yeah. The verisimilitude of making it look like you are seeing the events of a real life family instead of seeing the events of a movie, like, does wonders of making these feel like actual real people. And you cannot help but be like, dude, I am so emotionally invested in the last like 30 minutes of this movie. I'm a wreck by the end of it, dude.
I know.
Like, you can't. It is exhausting.
It really is.
It is exhausting
in the best
emotionally,
of ways.
And it's exhausting physically because you just like watch. Just like, can you imagine? That's the thing too. Is like these fights. They're they're like 3 rounds, 5 minutes each, and just like when you see how much physicality goes into that to do this sport, is exhausting to watch because you can't help but like empathize with them. It's like, good God, I can't imagine. Like,
this movie is so not concerned with history or explaining itself. It doesn't even explain the sport.
It really doesn't. It's just like, hey, they fight each other in the octagon. Go.
It just puts them in a cage and shows them fighting, and it's accurate. It looks like a fight. It's played out like a fight. They're doing the little wood clackers. They're doing the air horn. The ref is there not making calls with cheap shots. Like, it's all there. But if you don't know anything about MMA, it ain't going to explain it to you. By the time this movie came out, 2011, we had Google. You know?
Yeah.
You can figure
and why
it out.
why would they spoon feed exposition when this family has been around this sport their entire
Forever.
life?
Yeah.
Forever. They would never have a moment.
Could you imagine Nick Nolte sitting down to explain to Tom Hardy the basics of MMA? If there's a whole scene in this movie with
it's real
someone
stupid.
explaining MMA to someone else, like we know.
Yeah, it's like Frank Grillo coaching up the professional UFC fighter. Now we're gonna go over the basics here, bud. Let's
If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. Okay, we're gonna start from the basics. Why?
So here's a knee bar, bud. We're gonna go over the basics for you, dude. Yeah. I just think this movie's incredible, and the performances are amazing. The editing is great. The music is great. I just think everything, like no notes. It's just one of those, just like a rare perfect movies. It sets out to do everything it wants to. The actors are wonderful. The writing is nuanced. It's like everything you want out of a sports movie. You're fucking like basically on the rise of like getting out of your chair and cheering at your TV screen like an idiot by the end of it because you're
like
so
it's a real fight.
It's a real thing happening.
You said it's everything you want from a sports movie. It's just kind of everything I want from a movie.
Yeah, from it's like a family drama.
Yeah,
you know, it's a family drama that just happens to have people beating the shit out of each other by being
like you always wanted to do to your family.
Yeah.
Like you always said you would do. Yeah.
I think I've kind of touched on everything I had. Was there anything else that you wanted to kind of talk about before we sign off on Warrior?
The one note that I have, the one thing that disappoints me in this movie is I still don't know what was up Nick Nolte's ass. You know? Have you ever heard that soundbite?
If I have, I've forgotten about it. So you'll have to fill me in. I don't remember.
Nick Nolte was talking about a stage performance that he did, and he's the type of person that to get the right performance, he'll put like a thumbtack in his shoe or something.
Oh, really? Those method actor dudes?
Yeah, and he was talking about that, and he's talking about when he was doing whatever play, he had like a thumbtack in his shoe, and he wore something that was like way too tight. I don't remember. It was like something around his shoulders or something. And then he ends it with, and I can't even tell you what I put up my ass.
What the fuck?
It's like, what?
The true warrior, Nick Nolte.
He is Horaloo. Oh my god.
Shit. Yeah, I forgot. If I did know, I probably didn't hear about that, but I'd forgotten about it. Because this fucking movie came out 12 years ago. What the fuck?
I know, and it's so good.
Oh, also, this thing looks so good the way it's shot.
I was just saying, it's shot ahead of its time. It looks like
it came out last week, bro. It's so cutting edge as far as like how good it looks and like how well it's edited.
I don't remember, but it had to have blown me away the way it was shot because it is very ahead of its time.
It really
like
is.
You said, it looks like it came out last week. It does not look like camera techniques from 12 years ago.
I remember now, Creed homages a lot of the style of Warrior in it as far as like the editing of the fights and everything, and the kind of the grittiness of the way that they shoot the city feels like really real. You know, sometimes they kind of have like a glossy kind of texture to the film of when they're showing like a city, you know, where it looks a little bit too
they'll
fake.
get like a high profile area. Everything happens in this one block of this high profile area to make damn sure they're in Philadelphia.
There's very little
it's
Hollywood
in the suburbs, I think. No, I don't even think we see Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, this movie's fantastic. Yeah, go check it out. Man, I'm scared.
Do we do it? Do we break the seal?
So I'm gonna do the sign off first and do the plugs, and then we're gonna actually get rid of this notification badge that has been burning a hole in my brain the last 5 hours. So if you would like to follow the show more, we are on Twitter. For as long as Twitter is around, I guess. We probably should come up with a backup plan.
We should probably reserve the name on Mastodon.
We probably should. So we're on there at SPR Filmcast. Like we said earlier, if you ever want a question or prompt read at the beginning of the show by Ron and myself, you can email us.
Like Ryan
Rewind.
did.
Yeah, like Ryan did.
Thank
email
you,
us
Ryan.
Screenplay. Yeah, thanks again for the question. Really appreciate it. Screenplay Rewind.
I'm going to just keep cutting you off as you try to do this.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it makes my job a lot easier.
Since I interrupted you, I'll just repeat. That was screenplayrewind@gmail.com.
And screenplayrewind@gmail.com.
Screenplayrewind.
Yeah, SPR Filmcast.
Screenplay. Yeah.
Sunday.
Screenplay Rewind. Gmail.com.
Okay. Yeah. They'll definitely forget since it's the name of the fucking podcast download they have on their phone. Any ratings or reviews for this, whatever the hell we've just
What's the name of the show again?
I'm gonna change the name of the show now out of spite. It's gonna be Sitwell Stash. That's the Sitwell Stash Rewind.
That's the new Discord channel.
Yeah, that's the new Discord channel. Sitwell Stash.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Stashwell.
This sign off is so fucking off the rails. I'm just gonna call it. Share us out to your friends if they would also like a dose of the Sitwell Stash.
Oh no. Oh no.
You gotta pay extra for the Sitwell Stash.
Oh, this just became something else. I don't like it. I don't like where this is going.
You bought the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Okay. Ron, would you like to do the honors of reading Bobby's email?
Oh boy.
Because this is kicking off Friends and Family Month 2023. This is a momentous occasion.
Bobby starts off with, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Well, at least for us listeners. Let's talk one of the greatest love stories ever told that few have had the experience to watch. Featuring A-list celebrity Paul Walker and B-list celebrity Denise Richards. Love knows no form. I'm talking about the greatest love story between a girl and a dinosaur, Tammy and the T-Rex, for your viewing pleasure.
Damn, what the fuck is Tammy and the T-Rex?
I don't know.
I don't know what this is, and I'm even more terrified now. I gotta Google Tammy.
Tammy and they... Oh, what?
Oh, no.
What is this? Oh, I know this movie.
Oh, shit. I think I know this movie, too, but I don't think I ever saw it.
This movie is legendary. Holy fuck, I forgot this movie existed.
Did we go on a watch list when we read this from Apple? I think we do.
Can you rent it from Apple? Where can you get this movie?
Are we going to have to go to Bobby's house and watch his VHS tape? Are we going to have a slumber party to watch Tammy and the fucking T-Rex?
We're going to have to go dumpster dive an old defunct Blockbuster to find this movie. I have seen... Did Mystery Science Theater do this? I have seen shit from this movie before.
Thank God it's available on Peacock.
Oh, the powerhouse that is Peacock.
So I don't have to pay for it because it's on Peacock, which I already currently have.
Do you really?
Yeah, you guys for Poker Face. It's like I like Poker Face, and it's on
probably
Peacock.
Gonna have to pay for it.
Oh, okay. Here you go, Ron. It is streamable on standard Peacock with ads, so you actually don't have to pay for Tammy and the T-Rex.
That doesn't exist anymore, does it? I thought they did away with it.
Well, it's still on Just Watch, so that's a 50-50 shot on if this is actually up to date at all. But there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. That's all you can hope for. But yeah, Tammy and the fucking T-Rex. Well played, Bobby. Well fucking played. I'm just I still win, even though we have to watch Tammy and the T-Rex, because now this notification badge is off my phone and I'm fucking almost right with the world, dude. I can breathe deep and easy again. It's over.
Why is there a who's I can't think of his name. Plays Mad Eye Moody. Why can I remember that but not
Brendan Gleeson?
I kept wanting to say Domhnall Gleeson for some reason.
It's actually Donal.
Okay.
Because I googled it at one point just to figure out how the hell to pronounce his son's name.
There's a screen capture that it looks like him as a goddamn sheriff. Picture number 7 out of 106. Tammy and the T-Rex. I don't see him credited in the cast, which I wouldn't want to be either, but
he just erased it from existence.
I swear to God, it looked like him.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me because I'm not scrolling through the images. I can't spoil Tammy and the T-Rex by looking at the IMDb photos. I'm not a monster, bro.
I'm not a monster like the T-Rex and Tammy and the T-Rex.
I think Tammy's. I see. This is the twist. Tammy is actually the monster, and the T-Rex is just like a solid bro.
I feel like this is a fucking porn parody of something.
I now want to watch the T-Rex from Tammy and the T-Rex fight Tom Hardy from Warrior and see who wins. I'm voting on fucking Bane, dude. He's got it, dude. You want to know why the T-Rex went extinct? Tom fucking Hardy, dude. That's why.
That's why.
Yeah.
Hey, coming in your Discord now.
Let's see. Oh God.
I'm not finding him in the
Alright.
credits.
Oh, that does look like him. I don't think it's him. I don't think it's him though.
I wonder if it's this George Buck Flower guy. He kind of looks like he could be.
Because this looks like Brendan Gleeson circa like 10 years ago, but this was like 30 years ago. So I don't think he would have looked exactly that that old.
There's an Uncle Bob, and the dude's IMDb is him holding a shotgun. Is that has to be Bobby now, right?
I'm looking at that image, and doesn't that look like the fucking like just look at the flowers? The framing of that shot. Oh fuck. All right, we gotta get the fuck out of here, dude. I got Tammy and the T-Rex to watch. Well played, Bobby. I'm sure.
Played. I had no idea this was, but that first image for the trailer, I absolutely know this movie. Is that goddamn Zach from the Power Rangers?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I gotta go. I have to
here.
get out of here.
We need time to mentally prepare. We're gonna have a warrior-esque montage for training as we prep to watch Tammy the T-Rex, because it requires a lifetime of training. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Oh Lord. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Thanks, Bobby? Question mark.
Question mark.
Thanks. We will see you on the next episode for Friends and Family Month, and I am terrified of what lays around the corner.
Where was this suggestion when we were doing Velocipaster? That's what I want to know.
True. Yeah, that's a hell of a wombo combo, little double feature. Little Velocipaster and then Tammy and the T-Rex.
Tammy the T-Rex. Oh, fuck
I can't think of a single thing I could be doing better with my time than that. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh Lord.
Wait, let's go. Thanks everybody for listening. Bye.
Dude, this adds a whole new level to that inflatable T-Rex suit on the pole that he has continually in our email exchange with him.
He was teasing it the whole time. We just didn't realize it.
Tease-Rex? Tammy and the Tease-Rex?
Yeah.
I cannot believe I'm going to actually end up watching this movie. Oh, what have we done?